Hey everybody, welcome back. David Eon and the Stunning Miss Lady Pop Hunter here with another topic of discussion, adult collector discussion, industry discussion, if you will, because it's been getting thrown around a lot about SDCC. And apparently SDCC is hemorrhaging money due to lack of interest suddenly from vendors, from attendees, and from the big show promoters. Most notably, Mattel, I think, has said that they're not going to bother to go. DC Comics now has bowed out and said we're not going. And did Disney? Hasbro cut out?
Yeah. And I'm not sure because I heard something and read something that Disney's doing their own thing across the street from the theme park. So it's called D23. Disney 23. I'm not sure if that's going to be this year, 2022, or something coming up in 2023, but it's called D23 and it's Disney, and it's away from the Comic-Con, and they're going to promote all Disney stuff. And it's going to be right across the street from the theme park, so you can go to that con and then go across the street and ride rides and do whatever you do at Disneyland.
Because, and I've talked about this, we talked about this some on the last live stream that we did. From my perspective, you know, having really progressed through this over the decades, because I used to do a lot of the big shows around the Boston area in the early to mid 90s mostly, and it didn't cost hardly anything. You would go to the big, like, all-in Star Trek show with, like, guest speakers and 800, 1,000 tables and autograph sessions and all this stuff, and it's like $15 to get in, all the way to where we are now, where some people are spending hundreds for a ticket or more, depending upon what it is that they're trying to do.
Because they have all kind of events like dinner, and breakfast, and you know, all of these different things. So, but after COVID, a lot when they had to shut it down.
Because you know the type of cities that they are very restrictive. New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, Emerald City, which calling them Comic Cons are almost oxymorons because there's really not much in the way of comic book representation in these things. But they were forced to shut down. But now these vendors, and not so much the vendors, but the big show promoters like Mattel, like DC Comics, have realized they don't really need the show. They don't need to be there. They can do whatever they want to do separately. They can do it on the internet. You know, that if you have something to sell, we can sell it ourselves. And there's a huge expense. We don't have to pay SDCC, which is what Comic-Con International, I think, something like that. We don't have to pay SDCC an exorbitant price for our booths. We don't have to pay to send employees out there. We don't have to pay for their expenses, their flight and their hotel and their meals and all that. We don't have to pay to ship material, you know, show material and articles that they're going to sell or whatever back and forth. I mean, they don't make money doing this, doing that kind of promotion. But in the modern age, they don't need to be there to promote themselves, and it's something that a lot of these companies have suspected for a long time, and the virus scare proved it.
Well, I mean, it's like how much do you sell? Because I know you have Hot Toys, Sideshow, Prime One, XM, all of those companies, even Super 7, NECA, they're all out there, but they're showing you what's to come. You know, they probably got some things for sale because they all do a con exclusive, especially like people like Funko, they're out there to sell. And other companies are out there to sell because Mattel always has a con exclusive and all of that. But mainly, they're there to show you what's coming up, but they do that on their website. Because if you go on the Sideshow website, they got the coming soon section. And they tell you, okay, this is what we coming. Tweeterhead is out there. They tell you what's coming. So are they really selling anything? Or are they just there to say, this is what we have coming out? And it's not just San Diego. It's New York, because that's another huge one. The two huge ones.
Yeah.
They basically are just saying, this is our projection for the next 12 months. You know, and of course, again, they do sell some things, but I don't think they sell enough to pay for that booth.
No. And neither do the vendors. And as far as like self-promotion, NECA, you mentioned NECA just as an example. If they have something coming up, they can put a picture of it on their Instagram. By tomorrow, everybody's going to know about it.
Yeah, on their Facebook. They all got Facebook pages.
Yeah, they all got Facebook. They all got
Instagram.
Instagram.
And Instagram and all of that.
So they can promote themselves pretty easy.
Yeah, they just put it up on there.
Free.
And, you know, and they tell you what's coming out. So you don't really have to do that. And another thing they do that's major at the Comic-Cons is they do movie trailers. But you can watch movie trailers on YouTube
all day long. It'll come out. It'll come out the same freaking day.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Yeah.
And as far as like making your money back, and I've brought this up a few times because Bud Plant, who I know through Facebook, who is a big comic person that does the SDCC, and he had done them for 48 years, and he wanted to retire from it at 50. It's like, I'll put 50 years in, that'll be my milestone, and he quit. He's never going back, and he's not going to go back because he said that as every year the price keeps going up for his booths, and he can't make enough to offset the cost of setting up the tables, and most of the rest of the vendors can't either. And I think you were reading an article about that what did they say? They guesstimate they're losing about $2 million from vendors that have pulled out so far.
Yeah, and the con hasn't even come yet. And they already lost $2 million, and they lost over $1 million before. On the last one, they lost over $1 million.
Yeah. So,
you know, I wonder, and we talked about this before, and we talked about it on the live stream. Are Comic-Cons on their way out? And we're not talking about the local ones.
Yeah, because a real comic convention, it takes place in like a hotel or like a Legion Hall or something, you know, and you pay $5 or it might be free or something like that, you know. And these are the ones where usually collectors actually pool together and hunt and communicate. You know, like we just recently came from the Joe Fest and stuff like that. To us, that's a real show. But these other shows are supposed to be like the big show, but they're really not providing that.
Yeah.
But you're paying a fortune for it. And one thing I wanted to point out was we had seen an interview with somebody who works on the committee for SDCC, and he said behind the scenes they actually jokingly refer to it as Flippercon instead of Comic-Con, Flippercon, because the only people that show up are there to buy exclusives so they can turn around and sell them on eBay. Yeah. It's like they go around and they buy up exclusives and they go table to table. Is this free? Is this free? Is that free? And they turn around and sell it on eBay. They don't even give a shit about the show. Yeah. So what are we putting on a show for was his point. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes a lot of sense.
And then during COVID, I watched a sideshow. They did a...
Oh, yeah, virtual tour.
Yeah, they did the virtual tour of everything they would have taken to San Diego. And they did one for New York. And also Prime 1 did it. Super 7 did it. I'm not sure about NECA, but I did watch the Super 7 one. I watched a sideshow, and they did a better job. I mean, a lot of people go out there, but you got so much to see.
That's what the other half of people that are going to those shows are, is they get channels, and they're going there to film. They're not buying anything either. Yeah. But if they can do it themselves, like she was saying.
So, I mean, you got other people are there just filming, and they have so much to see. You can't really concentrate on a lot of things. And then there's so many people in the way. so you can only spend so much. But when Sideshow did theirs, they had their own cameraman. They had everything set up, and the guy went through one by one statue, and they took time, and they told you, if you want me to concentrate on a particular statue, or if you have questions about a particular statue, leave your comments, and then we'll film it again, that statue.
Sure.
And, answer your questions about it, or show it again slower, in more detail, talk about it more in depth. But they went through each statue, talked about it in depth, gave you a little bit of background, all the accessories. They showed you everything. And it was better than if you saw the people that are normally there, not knocking them at all, but again, because I film at the shows,
and it's not easy.
It's not, because
sometimes every once in a while somebody says, "Oh, you're going too fast," or this or that. It's hard to get around all those people.
Yeah, you got a lot of people. In some booths, I miss altogether because it's so much people, and then I'm like, okay, I'll never get in there. I'll come back, and then I never get back.
Yeah, you may not be able to.
So you're trying to make sure you see everything. You're trying to make sure you're not in the way. I try not to film the vendors. Some of them don't care. Some of them don't want to. So I make sure I try not to unless they say it's okay. But just from experience, and putting that with the people that do the shows, the Comic-Cons, and they're trying to put the content out, is difficult. So when the companies do it themselves in their own private area, and they have their own cameraman and a worker that can talk to you, it's much better because it's going slow. You have no background noise. You have nobody in the way walking through your shot. So, and I watched and I was like, okay, this is way better. In my opinion, I thought it was better.
But it's not, we're not saying that shows are disappearing, but I think the this could be the ushering in of the end of the era of these, like, sort of overblown mega shows. Yeah,
not the local ones in your neighborhood and in your city or in the state next to you. No, not those. Because those are just local vendors that come out and they sell stuff and people buy stuff. But like in New York and in San Diego, I don't think people really buy anything.
No. And
they're just there for the big toy companies to show what they have and what's coming.
And then the big, the big venues, like, again, DC, which says they're not even going to bother now. They're not going anymore. But they don't even talk about the comics anyways. They're going there to promote their TV shows and movies. But again, that stuff you can find out. They're basically telling you what you already know. Yeah,
everything you want to know what's on it, you can just type in DC movies and TV shows in Google, and then, this show, let me go on YouTube and look at the trailer, and you can find the trailer and then decide if you want to watch it or not. Or normally DC shows come on HBO. Just go to HBO and type in DC shows, and it's usually there. You know what I mean? So you can find it if you want to.
In the computer age, the age of the internet here that we're in, I mean, something pops up, like I was saying, if NECA puts an image and says, here's our next Universal Monster Turtle on Instagram, by tomorrow, half the planet's going to know about it.
Yeah.
And it costs them nothing. It's free advertising. So why should we go to San Diego Comic-Con, send a crew down there, pay for their flights, pay for their meals, pay for their hotel rooms, ship cases and cases of product for them to unpack and set up.
Yeah.
Plus the setup and the breakdown and all of that.
Ship it back.
And plus we're spending thousands and thousands. We're paying to SDCC for something that we can just have a guy take a picture and put it on Instagram. It doesn't make any sense. And the virus scare verified this for these companies, and now they're starting to take a walk. Not only that, but like we were saying, the individual vendors, the people who are selling product, they're at a point now where SDCC and New York Comic Con and Emerald City, the big ones, are so expensive that they go to these shows and they set up and they sell and tear down, and they're taking a loss. They're taking a hit every time. And a lot of them are walking away too. They're like, I might as well not even go and just stick to the local shows.
Yeah, because they have to take pictures anyway to put on their website. So just
no,
say,
I mean like the
I
dealers.
know what you're saying,
Oh, okay.
but I'm talking about the big companies
Yeah.
like Super 7, NECA, and Sideshow Prime 1. They got to take pictures anyway to put on the website to sell. So they can just take the pictures and put on their, Prime 1 Comic-Con or Con. Because Super 7 had the stay-at-home con, Sideshow had the Sideshow con. Yeah. Everybody named it something. And they just showed you all of the pictures of what they had. Yeah. And then you can buy it or not, Because
and also that'll cut down on a lot of the flippers too. Mm-hmm. Because if you, at least online, it ain't easy. But you still have a shot.
You got a better shot than if you didn't go to the con at all.
If you didn't go to the con at all, yeah. And that was a huge problem with Funko back in the day, too. People used to hate Funko for that. It's just like, oh, it's at SDCC. Yeah, I'll never get it. That's why they started the shared exclusives in the first place, even though they still had stuff that wasn't shared.
Yeah.
Or the stickers different.
Yeah.
I think that was a thing with them, too. So there's like 2 version stickers on shared exclusives. And, quite frankly, a lot of Funko collectors are sticklers about that, and they're sticker chasers is what they call them. So they want every sticker variant too. Yeah, they still got them there with that artificial demand model. You can't get away from it.
And Mattel did their con exclusives when they had like the the Faker and the Cringer Faker, whatever that was. I can't DeLupo, whatever the name of it was. So, a lot of people didn't get that, but you can find it on eBay for $300 and some odd dollars.
Yeah, and people hate that.
Yeah, and people get tired of it, and then you lose business because people get so fed up. They're like, you know what, I'm not even going to bother.
And then that's when you hear the stories about people that are like, I was so disenchanted, I sold my whole collection. I got rid of all my Black Series. I got rid of all of my, whatever line that they collected. I sold all of my Super 7s, whatever it is. Because we hear that a lot. I got rid of every NECA figure I own because I was so sick and tired of not being able to do this and that. That's why I stopped getting the classified figures.
I didn't get rid of my NECAs. I just quit buying anymore.
Yeah, between the convention exclusives and the Target exclusives, I couldn't get half of them. So I was like, forget it. I'm done. I'm not paying 3, 4, 5 times the original price for a modern figure. It doesn't make sense. I can understand if it's like 40 years old, but not for something that came out like a week ago.
Yeah, and I know with the NECA, I was collecting the NECA Turtles, and they were exclusive to Target, and it was a nightmare to find. So I just quit buying it. I didn't sell the ones I had.
Yeah,
I just quit with that one because there's so many lines out there anyway. I just went to another line.
Yeah.
And called it a day. But back to the cons. Yeah, I think the big ones like New York and San Diego, either they're gonna just like dwindle down like a lot and maybe get back to what they started out as like a local show, like what we see in our neighborhoods, where it's just a local show with just vendors. You got a handful of cosplayers there, and they're just selling goods. Because that's what people want. They want to sell, and others want to come out there and buy. You go to these cons hoping to find something that you haven't seen in a while, you've been looking for, and you couldn't find it anywhere. And sometimes you luck out. But when you see these videos of San Diego, I didn't even realize vendors were there because you don't see them. Yeah, I'm talking about vendors with regular stuff that we want. They never show them. They never show them. They never talk about them. They only talk about it, the big companies, and they talk about these panels of movie stars and TV stars are going to be there, and they're going to do a panel, and you see all of the cosplayers, and that's it. You don't see, I think, like, it's on the bottom floor where all of the vendors are. You don't even see those guys.
Yeah, and there's also a genre of people that, and this is what really made them so big in the first place is people that went there for that atmosphere. But unfortunately, like with anything where there's an atmosphere created, it becomes commercialized and then it gets ruined. It's like punk rock. You know, most people don't realize originally punk rock coming from England, it was a political thing. It was a socio-political thing. It was young people taking a stand against their society, and it got turned into what? It got turned into a style of clothing. Hey, let's make already torn jeans. Let's make instead of them making their own studded belts, we'll just make studded belts. They found a way to sell it back to people, and that's what's happened with the SDCC and New York Comic Con and all of these mega cons. Is they took an atmosphere. Hey, I want to go and meet some celebrities, because again, when I was talking like going to the Star Trek convention, it was a massive show. It's like $15 to get in, and there's celebrity panels, and you could sit there and listen to them for free. You could get autographs for free. You know, and some people would be dressed up. They didn't have the term cosplay at the time. You know, again, I'm in the 90s here. If somebody, you know, a couple of people would show up dressed like a Borg, and it's like, wow, that's great. Now cosplayers, you hardly even pay attention to them because so many people are doing it, and they're doing it for attention, not because not because they're so engrossed in the franchise. You know, they just love it so much they wanted to present that. They're going there because they're professional cosplayers, and they want their pictures taken, and they want to be famous. A lot of them, not everybody, but a lot of them are like that.
Yeah, and those people, those professionals, probably don't know anything about the character.
Who knows? I don't know. I don't know if I would stretch it that far, but I hope they know something about the character if they're dressing up like him so well. But they've commercialized it so heavily, and when you start commercializing it, you expect to get paid for it. And it just got more and more and more expensive. Everything got more expensive. Again, I'm coming from a time where autographs were free. They would pay for a celebrity to come, a comic book artist, an actor, somebody like that, or if there was a charge for it, it was only a few bucks. You know, you got Lou Ferrigno's autograph, it was like $5 or $10, you know, something like that. Todd McFarlane, free signatures. You know, Sam Keith, free signatures. You know, whatever. The cast of Lost in Space, $5 or $10 for per autograph or something like that. To people getting paid insane money for signatures now, crazy money, because that atmosphere and that nostalgia that people were trying to cling to has been so heavily commercialized that it can't function unless they're getting big money for it. But that can only go on for so long before people get fed up with it and it starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what's starting to happen here. And like I said, you know, the virus scare has taught a lot of these companies that, hey, you know what? We don't need these big shows to get ourselves out there and to get noticed. And additionally, actual vendors who sell comics, toys, whatever they're selling, have been squeezed so bad that they're like, why should I even bother to go? I lose money every time I go to the show now. I don't want to go anymore. You know, so it looks like we could see these mega cons starting to fade away. Like, really.
Yeah. And
I know SDCC has threatened, and they've done this several times, as they've lost money, oh, we'll take our show somewhere else. This is to San Diego, because again, it's Comic-Con International. It's not really SDCC. That's just what it's called. But they've threatened San Diego with pulling up stakes and taking off. And, you know, San Diego will give them more concessions, give them a bigger tax break or whatever, to try to keep them there so that they can get the revenue from all of the hotels and restaurants and whatever. It's important to the county. But where else are they going to go? The idea of being in San Diego is there's really nothing else out there. that people are going to go and waste their money on. They say, "Oh, we'll go to Vegas." Yeah, all the nerds will be at the shows or getting prostitutes or something instead of going to the show and spending the money there. Although Vegas could certainly accommodate the hotels, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, would that really make a sense? Las Vegas Comic Con, are you going to go?
I mean, they got plenty of other places, but I don't know. It just seems like it's starting to fade out because it became unnecessary with the prices, and now with the internet, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You only want to go because you want to buy that figure you've been looking for years, and you're hoping that you can get a deal. And you want a deal because you find it on eBay, but you got to pay taxes and shipping. And you say, man, if I go to this show, I can have it in my hand today. I don't have to pay tax. I don't have to pay shipping. And, maybe I can get a deal, talk to the vendor or whatever.
Yeah.
Not pay $100 to get in. Because we looked at going to one show. I think when we were in Illinois. No, when we were in Illinois, that Wizard Con or something.
Oh, that's right. Man, it's crazy expensive.
It was like $110.
Yeah, that's just for the get in the door.
Yeah, and that was for like one day. I was like,
and if you wanted to do anything, unless you just wanted to stand there.
Well, they had, I'm sure you can just walk around, but, who wants to pay that much to get into a show? And, all you want to do is walk around and look and buy stuff. You don't want to pay $100 for that, And
I think that the idea of the camaraderie has been lost. You go to these shows and you recognize people, or you can connect with people that are like-minded about certain franchises or, certain stories or certain interests. But now they're selling that to you. And it's not the same. It's just not the same. I think of William Shatner's book. I forget the title of it. But he used to hate the conventions. He hated going to shows. And he wouldn't do it for a while. And then he started going to shows in disguise. Mm-hmm. He was dressed as a Klingon. And you couldn't tell it was him. Just talking to people about Star Trek, and he got the notion. It was like, yeah, you know what? Some of these people really love this. Maybe I'm kind of giving the shows a bad rap. And then he told his agent, you know what? Go ahead and sign me up for some shows. And his agent was like, what? Are you serious? And he got into it because there's that famous SNL sketch from when William was on there that he wrote, where he insults the people at the Star Trek convention. He's on the podium insulting them. He really felt that way. That's why he did that. He was like, what are you morons doing, wasting your lives coming to these shows? But then he had a different take on it when he was at their level. Mm-hmm. And I got to wonder if that's still there. If that, like I said, that camaraderie, that fellowship is still there. Or is it just something that they're trying to promote to you now? And if that's the case, it's dead anyway.
Well, it might be like for these actors and stars, like in their contract, okay, you do this movie, now you have to go on these 3
I wonder about
nighttime
that with some of the talk shows.
Yeah, you have to go on these 3 nighttime talk shows to promote the movie. And they might say, well, you got to go to at least 1 or 2 Comic-Cons to promote your character and promote the show or the movie. Yeah. So you never know. Some of them might just like doing it or don't mind, or I can use the extra money or whatever. Who knows? But you look at some pictures and the people look like they really don't want to be there.
That's true.
Because I've seen some pictures
just straight up business. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures where they took with, a guest.
Celebrity guest, yeah.
And boy, they look like, God, just get away from me. Have to take this picture so I can go.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the 800th person I've had to pretend to like today. Can we get on with this? Mm-hmm. And charged a fortune for it.
I mean, he's put on a fake smile.
There are some people that are really into it, and some that you can tell are just not. Like, I've heard Hulk Hogan's really into it. That he seems to enjoy it. And, that's great if they do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's been turned into too much of a business, and when it's all about the money, you lose a lot.
Yeah.
You lose a lot.
The small shows, the local stuff is fun.
Yeah.
You go, and some of them, of course, are bigger than others.
Yeah.
But they're fun. You go, you find what you want, you see some people you talk, or you might just talk to a vendor, and you have a good time, and it's over with. It's not too much going on, too much rigmarole, just a local show, and that's it.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, of course, everybody, they got to make their money.
Yeah.
But they're going there for a reason. It's business. But are you enjoying it at all, or is it strictly business? And if it's only business and there's no joy in it, I don't know. Any thoughts? Do you think that we're seeing the decline of these mega cons? Tell us what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you got something out of it. We hope you did. Share it if you can, all that good stuff. Check out some of the other videos if you are new. We do a lot on this channel, primarily in the area of nostalgia. We're all about those old feelings. So if that's it, then what more can we say but thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.